What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and man, this is going to be a tough one to get through. We have got the round 1 review for you guys, and I was so confident this week. Especially halfway through the weekend, I was right on track, and I really felt things were going to go well. We obviously are going to get into it all, but I'm just going to give you a bit of a heads up. This is going to be a heartbreaking video. An absolutely heartbreaking one. It's just things that were so unfortunate that I am actually in shock as to the results of this week. So I'm going to need a like and a subscription to make me feel better. I am, I think, 2 or 3 subscribers away from 2,000, so if you can help me get over the top, that'd really cheer me up and that'd help me out. So if you can do so, that'd be very, very good. But nonetheless, let's get into this video. So the first thing you will notice, usually when we do get a prize card, it pops up on the screen and tells us. That very clearly is not the case here today, and it is a bloody shame because I'm going to show you the results. I got an email this morning as I'm recording this as to what the results were, and it hurt my soul. I do not know how we are not getting a prize card this week. So we're going to go everything one by one. We're going to start with the Teamcoach tips because I think they're going to be in there. Lovely. And the round zero even showed up. We only got Gold Coast right, 1 out of 4. Of course. But then we've got 6 out of 9 for round 1. Nice. But we've got ourselves some interesting tips that didn't go right. Collingwood and Brisbane both off to 0-2 starts now for the season after making the granny is nuts. Did not expect it at all. Had a big loss to the Swans. Honestly, a lot bigger than 33 points as it shows right here. It felt like 50. But the Brisbane versus Dockers game was quite similar. The Dockers had a massive lead at one point, and it looked like absolute domination. I don't know how it happened. This St Kilda one was a bit of a risky pick. It almost paid off, but Paddy Dangerfield's heroics at the very end of the game. A long kick that looked off and then curled back. That is a clutch goal. 8-point victory for them. Very, very nice. Everything else was correct. The Carlton one just went through. Essendon and Hawthorn may have been hard to pick up, but ended up going the right way. Gold Coast nearly lost or tied. It was very, very close there as well. Ended up going Gold Coast way. GWS versus North, they put up a lot more fight than I was kind of expecting, so I am kind of happy about that. And then Melbourne beating the Dogs. Like I said, Melbourne just have a way of beating these guys. They do it very regularly. And not only that, the Dogs look really poor this year. Like, they just look out of touch. So I don't have very high hopes for the Dogs this year. I'm going to be brutally honest. Port, though, 120 to 70, even though Harley Reid looked pretty good to start, kind of cooled off a little as the game went on, and Port ended up taking it by 50 as expected. So that leaves round 2 for the preview, the Thursday, so it's going to be an interesting little look that we've got going on there, but we're going to go ahead and check the star powers. Now, this wasn't a bad week. I don't think this is a bad week whatsoever for star powers. Josh Dunkley, which my head I think is in the way, hopefully I'm out of it, you can see Josh Dunkley 126, not too bad at all. Had a tied score with Noah Anderson, I think for the top, but look how many players got 100. That is a ridiculous amount of players. That is crazy. So getting one of them is a pretty good pickup. Then we also had Tom Green, another massive game for him, 145. That's 2 for 2 for star power, so you'd think, hey, we may be on track here. Then Lachie Whitfield, not too bad either. The only one who ended up beating him, 2 of them, Andrews and May. Okay, it's not 3 for 3, but it's damn close. It is really, really close. We go to the next ones though. Nick Martin. Although he had himself a good game, you can see Bolter had 108, which is surprising, and De Koning had 107. Luke Jackson outplayed him by 3 points as well. It looked like Martin was going to have a crazy good game at some point, but unfortunately, he did not end up topping the Star Powers list. And then we also had Tom Liberatore with 90 points, although Maxi Gawn took it out with a massive 137, and unfortunately, it is the story of this week. Max Gawn is going to ruin a lot of our scores here. So, you can see, a pretty decent side got us rank 70. A rank 70 for what was damn near a perfect side. That was a really, really good looking side. And we've somehow ended up being that far behind. Like, look, number 5, this person has 601 points. We are less than 50 points away with that, but we are over 50 rankings away from them. Just ridiculous how crazy the rankings are this season and how good you've got to be to get up there. Oh my god, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get anywhere on this one. You can check Ultra here. The double points went to the right people. Dunkley, Green, and Whitfield. All of them got double points. So you can imagine, what, from these guys, you're up to 700 points. Close to it. Add these guys on, maybe get us over the 900 mark. Yes, it did, but we still only got rank 62. This is nuts. The top 10 all have over 1,000. This is just ridiculous at this point. And I do also want to point out, you can see there's an account, or at least there's 2 accounts that have very similar names, and I'm really hopeful that this isn't people with making multiple accounts. That would definitely be disappointing, because all this kind of shows me is that people are going to keep making accounts and keep just getting up all the prize cards like that, especially early on with these few rounds to start. Like, you could just keep making accounts, and potentially you could make up to however many are available. Like, you can make 20 and then just put the same team in, and if you end up winning or end up getting far up in there, you just end up taking a whole bunch of prize cards home, which I am not too happy about, but I can't do anything about it at this very moment. So we're just gonna have to live with it. Rank 62, those star powers felt really hard done by. I felt like, unless I maybe changed a few things here, like the Maxi Gorn pick, if I changed that up, even made it a double, that could have been helpful over Lockie Whitfield. But I'm not really like upset with my picks here. I liked my picks, I thought they were good, but I also just find it disappointing that it didn't work out, and it felt like we weren't even close, which is nuts. But next up, we are going to go over top team. Top team, also really heartbreaking. So, to give you an idea, very first game that I went to this year ended up being Collingwood versus Sydney, and these guys, Daicos and Heaney, were also involved. You can see Daicos and Heaney 1 by 1. Daicos didn't end up being the best, but he was second best, and he was damn close. 123 points over the 125 that Luke Ryan got, and I completely forgot about him this year. I'm definitely going to be chucking him in the top 18, because Luke Ryan last year was putting up numbers like that on a semi-regular basis. But Isaac Heaney, once again, and I'm pretty certain that he is going to be a consistent 100-point scorer this year, because he's being moved in from the forward line to the midfield a lot while Lukey Parker is out. And so I'm actually really, really liking the rotation they've got inside that midfield right now. Heaney is absolutely killing it. He, Chad Warner, a little bit of James Rowbottom in there, and Errol Goulden, they are all killing it in that midfield right now, and it's producing results like that. So Heaney with 125, very, very nice to see. So 2 really good scores, and then Tommy Green as well. Look, second highest score below Caleb Sarong, having a historic game for the Freo Dockers, 46 disposals. Not a bad performance. Tom Green, there's not much more you can do, man, and that's a fairly good performance, only to come second. Like, I don't imagine many people pick Sarong. A lot more people probably would have picked Green, so can't be mad at that either. This is where I feel like it all went down, though, and it's unfortunate. The likes of Marshall Sherry? Tristan Sherry ended up coming second for the Ruckman. It's just nuts to me. I do not know how a North Melbourne player is doing this well compared to the rest of them, but I'm glad he's doing it. As a North Melbourne fan, I'm glad he's doing it, because it means he is really living up to that Todd Goldstein backup role that he's been playing for so long. Now that he's being the main ruckman, it's given him that, I guess, explosion to do what he wants. He kicked a goal, did a lot, really, really good. 18 disposals, 5 marks, lots of hit-outs, pretty good. But Maxi Gorn, of course, ended up topping it, and he just had an amazing game. And it's not because English had a poor game, even though I think he was a little bit off his standard. Maxi Gorn was just different. 35 hit-outs, 26 disposals, 9 marks. Like, he did what he would have done against anyone other than Brodie Grundy, because Grundy knew exactly what he was going to do. So Grundy had himself a really good game last week, but Maxi Gorn, because of Brodie Grundy no longer playing on him and knowing what he's going to be doing, Maxi ended up having himself a ripper against one of the better ruckmen in this competition. So I'm interested to see, is he going to keep it up? I think with the way he was playing, I don't think he kicked many goals, but if he can play like that for a lot of the season, he's going to be a solid lock for everybody in the ruck position this year. So very nice to see from Maxi. Unfortunately, we couldn't pick him up, but this is where it really hurts. Became 15th. 15th. That sucks. That is so frustrating. I was so certain with a 500-point score that I was going to be in the top 10, and nope, somehow not. Somehow. Even my season ranking so far is 1 spot out of the top 10. I just do not know what to do at this moment. It is getting me really, really frustrated, because I thought for certain I had a prize card on the way, and just knowing that it wasn't enough, that hurts. That really, really hurts. And top 18, I wasn't, expecting too much after a few of the performances. Like Sicily's performance was kind of rubbish, if we're being honest. Shea Bolton, I think this is about the last time I'm going to have him in with only 64 points. It's not very helpful. But again, my top 18 wasn't bad outside of a couple of picks. Like, you look here, the backman, I've got Sheasel and Daicos. I knew putting Sheasel would be a good idea. Whitfield had himself an alright game. Powell did okay as well. Blakey, I'm hoping he can bounce back, but honestly, because it wasn't in the backline too much, I'm thinking maybe Blakey just wasn't needed as much. And then we go down here, and Sicily was the second worst player. Sicily, I do not know what has happened, what has changed, but all of a sudden, James Sicily is no longer what he used to be in that Hawthorn backline. He's just not needed, apparently. I was watching the game, and they just never went to him. They never went to him. And not only that, Sicily looked like he didn't care. It looked like he just could not care at all. Maybe that changes, but I'm going to take him out because if that's Hawthorn's game plan now, and they're not going to use him as much, there's no point bringing him in. That was a really, really shocking performance from him, and it ended up taking out a lot. This backline was fairly disappointing this week, but we go to the midfield. Not terribly disappointing, though. There were a lot of standout performances, though. Tom Green, Josh Dunkley, 2 really good picks. Errol with 111, which is not bad at all. Kelly, 102. The disappointments come when we come to Marcus Bontempelli. Bont seems to be one of the worst ones of the week, and that's very disappointing. He did only have 90 points, but he was getting a lot. I'm pretty sure he was first in the fantasy points halfway through the third quarter, and he just did not do much after that. Very upsetting. The Dogs overall just kind of dropped off as the game went on. Melbourne just had their number, so it's annoying. We got to move on. We got to just work with it, especially because Oliver and Petrarca, who I took out last week, both dropped some pretty good games, and it's just the way it always goes, isn't it? It's just always the way it happens. Some players I'm going to look out for. Noah Anderson is starting to put up really, really good numbers consistently. Matty Rowell may need a little bit of a lookout as well this year. He's just getting a lot more ball now, contested possessions. He's fighting, and he seems to be working his way around the ball a lot better than he used to be. I'm honestly not sure what's happened, but you can see Anderson, Rowell, and I wouldn't be surprised if, Miller's not that far off either. Their entire midfield had 100 plus points. That's a pretty good output from that Suns midfield. And so I'm thinking Anderson may get a spot next week. And then our forward line actually performed quite well outside of a few stinkers here and there. But you can see Heaney 125, Danaher 117, Cameron 91, Green 87, Kerno, one of the disappointing ones, but the most is obviously Shea Bolton. He will have to go. I'm not too great on Shea's performance, and that's 2 weeks in a row now, and usually that's enough for me to kind of switch up. I'm thinking Hogan may get a pickup. I was thinking previously Brian Myers maybe, but again, he just doesn't put up team coach type points. If he just put a bit more into those stats, he could have gotten more in this game, but just not the case, unfortunately. And Jesse Hogan with a massive game. Definitely going to be abusing that North Melbourne backline this year, I think, because they are just wide open. They are wide open sometimes, so I'm going to keep a lookout again next week for North Melbourne and try and pick up the players best useful for those games. The top 18 gave us a ranking of 51. We were damn near 100 points per player. Obviously, like I mentioned, the likes of Sicily definitely hurt us. Switch out Sicily for Ryan, and we got ourselves a prize card by a long shot. Like, there was just one change that needed to be made, and we'd shoot ourselves into top 10. Screw top 20. Top 10 would be the one, so definitely upsetting. Definitely upsetting, and there's some players I've already got in my mind that I'm going to be chucking in next. I am just really hopeful that this is the last time this type of disappointment happens. But that is it. That is where the disappointment comes to an end, because I guess in the good news is that Nick Dacos' prize card is still available at the time of recording this. It could go out at any point this week. I'm really expecting it to be gone from the prize card available list very, very soon. It's just bound to happen due to Nick Dacos' value at this very moment. Would have been like Dusty back in 2021. His value, if he had a prize card, he'd be gone immediately. So my only hope is that Dacos doesn't get sold out this week, and then I can try and get him next week. But I really do not feel confident about that. I feel like he's going to be gone at some point this week, and I can only cross my fingers and hope that it stays the way it is. So we're just going to have to try again next week, see how it all goes. But if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everything is always very, very much appreciated. Become a member if you'd like to as well. I do myself a weekly members podcast as well. I'm about to record that basically. So thank you all very, very much for watching. I hope to see you all very, very soon as well. Thank you guys again for clicking on the video, and I'll see you all next one. Goodbye.